So, my life.
Yes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our channel. This is Artist Till Death. I'm Erica, and Jeff is also helping me. Bowie, the director, is here, and today we're finishing the rest of these bazillion coasters. I finally figured out a way to add the magnets without them sinking all the way to the front and looking gross. So the answer was fill it up halfway. Well, apparently in this one it's a little bit more than halfway. Drop the magnets and then fill it up the rest of the way after it's cured, which doesn't take that long anyways because...
Yeah, I would say that, like, after it's cured, then drop the magnets.
I did say that.
You said, however far, drop the magnets.
However far? I said after it's cured, drop the magnets, which doesn't take that long. And the end of that sentence was because it's quick coat, which is 2-hour cure.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's very important to just let it cure up first because apparently magnets sink in resin, especially if it's on a table that may have some metal in it. So I'm going to demold some of these that have finished up so I can show you what it looks like. It looks like this. Ooh, ah, and then I'm going to inlay some gold here. And
We understood, E.
sweet. And so the title of this video is how to make resin mold more durable. This is the exact same thing I was doing yesterday, but I got messages with more questions, so I thought I would just film finishing up doing these so that I can get all of your questions answered. Hold your questions though, because I can't see them right now. But this is one that I did just a little while ago, and it's not bendable. And Vamp came over here earlier today and hot coffee cup tested it, and it was brilliant. No issues. We're gonna try out the...
You're taking that. So, all I need is one person to say how the sound is.
We're trying out the mic that was giving us an issue yesterday.
That would be Vamp.
Vamp's here. How does it sound? Testing, testing. Testing. I need...
A little echoey. What does that even mean? I don't understand what that means.
It's still... Maybe the other one's just better sound. Or maybe we just need to go back to the other mic.
She says my ears apparently are more sensitive.
But everyone else says it's okay? Or is it only Vamp answering?
Well, you guys probably hear that. You have the microphone touching your shirt, so it's probably moving.
Oh. Hold on. Okay, it's not touching my shirt anymore. How does this sound? While we're figuring that out, I am using STONECOAT's Quick Coat. You can get it from StoneCoatCountertops.com. Use the code YALL, Y-A-L-L, all caps, for an awesome discount.
I have both mics on.
So this resin is a 1-to-1. So you mix equal parts of A and B. And you want to mix it till it's thoroughly combined. It says 3 minutes, but since this is a 15-minute working time epoxy, try to get it as good as possible and as quick as possible, because they'll start heating up, and then that's when you know time is running short. And as quick as possible. They'll start heating up. So, if you guys hear that, it's not an echo, especially if Jeff's mic is on. He's listening. In the other room to see how it's going. So, Quick Coat is a little bit thicker. It has no UV resistance. And it will have a bit of a smell, so wear all proper protective gear when using it. I'm in a well-ventilated space with really large windows and ventilation, so yeah. I'm trying to not spill it and show you guys what I'm doing and make sure it's fully mixed, including scraping the sides and the bottom of your cup to make sure that everything is fully incorporated. Also trying to not listen to myself in the other room. Also, my bad for the sniffles. I'm telling y'all, first $1 million I ever make, I'm gonna hire someone just to mix my resin for me. So when you have it mixed and you don't see any swirls of the two parts, it looks kind of like fishing line. I call it angel hair. I'm not sure why. No Bowie. When you can't see any of that, that means your resin is fairly mixed. Then you can add your color. For these, the theme of the weekend is pink, apparently. So I'm mixing in some pink sherbet from Just Resin to color my everything. And then when I add the plaster, which will make everything more durable, that'll kind of pastel everything out, but it's fine. Make sure.
It's so funny, like it shows more than what it shows on my phone.
Oh.
Like on my phone, it just shows this part of your hands from here. Well, I guess like right here. But over there, it shows up here.
It's different. So I'm using a regular just plaster, and I'll probably mix in maybe 5 ounces of plaster into my 8 ounces of mixed resin. I'm adding in just a little bit at a time because that'll help prevent pockets of plaster that don't fully incorporate or mix in from staying in the mold, not the mold. May need to plug it in. So I get that incorporated, then add a bit more. Get that incorporated, add a bit more. If you're worried about little chunky bits, then you can sift your
What are you barking at?
plaster before using it.
What do you want?
Then you just fold it in.
Tell me. In here?
Jeff is getting Bodie his present, so
In here?
if you can hear, that's what's happening.
In here? What do I get? What do I get? It's like that.
I try to fold it in at first and then get to mixing it
Snatching that from me, boy.
after I'm sure that it won't kick back up into my face. Do not mix water with your plaster. That is only if you're making just plaster and water. If you're going to put it in resin, don't put any water in your plaster, because water and resin are not friends. Also, don't just put all the ingredients together and start mixing, because if your resin isn't already incorporated before getting to this point,
It looks like those, like the bubbles are coming out by themselves.
I mean, it could be because I'm folding everything in. I'm putting bigger air pockets in there. So it could be that air is just coming out on its own instead of using heat or like rubbing alcohol. So I started doing this because I had people that wanted molds that, or things out of molds that were essentially really flimsy, because when you have a thin mold, a lot of times it takes 30 days for your resin to cure, so you can't really use it or ship it. So it's just not that sturdy. And then if you have a thin thing like this, a lot of times what you pull out of your mold will flop around like that until it's fully cured, and sometimes even after it's cured. So I started doing plaster to make it more durable after discovering that just regular plaster is not very durable. It's very delicate. So I had to find something that worked for all the things I needed it to. So therefore we went with plaster, resin, hybrid. And I'm putting magnets in these because they're going to be coasters and also magnets. I'm not really concerned that the two colors don't exactly match. They'll be fine. So now, since I'm only pouring in half at a time, I need to work everything around and make sure I don't have any bare spots. Anybody have any questions? And yes, the magnets work through the resin plaster mix because they're not really that deep in it. They're just slightly covered. Now these ones were cured already, and then we dropped the magnets on them. So I'm just topping them off so that the magnets are covered and that the mold is full. Also, after yesterday's video, Tammy Anderson sent me a clip of what she was working on, which was also plaster. That was fun. I have a bit of extra, so I'm going to make a few more. Waste not, want not, you know? It'll self-level, but I want to make sure that there's some resin everywhere so that it can self-level into every crevice.
Evelyn said, how long before magnets?
So I'm using Quick Coat, and it cures up in 2 hours. So I've been waiting pretty much 2 hours and then dropping them in there.
I don't think that she knew what happened first.
Evelyn was here yesterday.
So Evelyn, she poured
Half.
about half of whatever the depth of these molds are, let it set up, and then drop the magnets in, and now she's pouring the rest in there. I'm gonna let them set up.
So the first ones I did, if you guys didn't see yesterday's video, didn't quite work out right because I just dropped the magnets in. Well, the first one I dropped them in almost immediately. And then I'll show you what it looked like. So I dropped them in almost immediately and they sunk all the way to the bottom, or what would be the top. That's no good. So then I waited a little bit longer, and what ended up happening is they still sank, but didn't even sink all the way. So it's like floating all kinds of wonky. They like fell crooked and they didn't sink all the way. So I can see them on both sides. So that's not a good look. So then I figured out that the answer was to pour them halfway. And you can kind of tell there's a slight line because I'm making the color as I go. So I poured it, well, I guess on this case, 2/3 of the way, dropped the magnets in, and then finished out the front because I didn't want to see them on the front. I don't care if you can see them on the back. And as you can see, the magnets still work even through that resin. So that's that part. And then, wow, this is way heavier than I remember. The next step that I'm doing, learn as you roll, exactly.
You have to be careful because this is so top heavy.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Oh, I forgot to say that I still heat these, but
Whoops.
I still heat these, but I don't use torch. I'm using a heat gun. Because it's real easy to ruin your piece with a torch. You can get out of control, and then all of a sudden, you've melted your silicone. What, Bubba? You can come up here. Come on. Oh, it's a good boy. So then for these, what I'm going to use is Montana Liquid Gold to fill in these little stars and doodads. So just so you guys can know what that looks like. Is this where it should be?
Yeah, I can see.
So I'm using a super fine liner brush.
Are we using molds to make stronger molds, Lisa Bannister?
No, Lisa, I'm using plaster in my resin to make stronger pieces that come out of the molds. What would that be called? Why am I using the wrong word?
Sturdy.
No. The things that come out of molds. This that came out of the mold is called a what?
A moldy.
Moldy, okay. I guess maybe I should change the title to say the demolded piece, unmolded piece. Words are hard. So, these are due tomorrow.
Due tomorrow, like
Like
during
it's homework.
class.
My assignment. They have to be done tomorrow. No. Alright, I'll flex some gold on these bad boys and call it a choice. Let that be a lesson to everyone. Don't get worked up if something happens and it doesn't look exactly like you had in mind. There's always a solution. And a lot of times, imperfections are the most beautiful. This liquid gold's so great because I can just put a little, I can just put the tip of the paintbrush in there if it's really loaded with paint.
Just the tip.
Just the tip, and it'll just fill. Also, I have a lot of whatever it is that you call what you pull out of a mold. I have a lot of extra these coasters. I'll probably just put them on the website. Not the mold. What's come out of the mold. You're gonna have to quit shaking this table.
I don't know what that's called. How was that such a thing? Positive.
The positive. Okay.
I support it. It depends what resin you use, right? I don't know what that means.
Lisa asked.
The cast. That's what it is. The cast. Casting cast.
Okay, the cast. So,
The castee.
okay. So, what was the question? Oh, it does not really matter what kind of resin you use. I used a quick setting epoxy today because I'm on a time crunch.
And it's more secure, right? It's more
I mean, probably one could argue that quick coat is more durable or more sturdy. It's
rigid.
rigid. It's more rigid than art coat, especially so quickly out of the mold. But it is what it is. Not really super concerned if I get just a little bit outside of the lines.
I hate that shadow.
Where are you, Virgo? All right, last one, and then class will be dismissed. So, does anybody have any questions about plaster and resin, or working with epoxy, working with plaster, any of the other art styles that we do here on ATD?
You don't need to sand the edges.
I'm not going to. They're if they were sharp, I would. Or at least take an X-Acto blade and cut off any sharp edges while the resin was still soft.
Ratio, please.
The ratio of epoxy to plaster is a real mathy type thing you're asking me, and I'm not good at numbers. But I will tell you, for the 12 coasters, I mixed 8 ounces of resin, 5-6 ounces of plaster, and that filled all of them up about halfway. And so then I do that twice to fully fill all 12 coasters.
And remember, mix your resin and just add the powder
Plaster?
Don't put any water in it.
Yeah, no water. Don't mix your plaster like it says on the box. That's for just if you're doing a plaster
That's
cast.
what I noticed. Shelly says, has the luster from the paste stayed, or has the plaster dulled it?
The plaster dulled it. You can still see some flecks of shimmer in the light. For the most part, it's taken the luster out. I just wanted a pink color because pink is their color.
Can you say hi, Bowie? Why are you breathing so hard?
Probably was more back there. Any other questions? So you guys, I will be letting the other ones cure up a bit more, and then when they're cured, I will top them off with the 2 magnets that I'm using and the second half of the plaster epoxy mix. So each one of these times 12 takes a total of probably 4 hours to do, because I have to wait 2 hours in between pouring the first layer and finally demolding it takes 4 hours. And then just dropping in some kind of color. I guess I should probably do the name of this. So it's 1-to-1 almost. I'm doing 1-to-1 almost. Obviously you can not do it how I am. The box says 2 parts water to 3 parts plaster. So if you're mixing a plaster and water mix, then it would be more plaster than water. So if you're substituting the resin for plaster, then it should technically be more plaster than resin. I'm just doing what works, and I'm sharing with you guys what works, and I'm telling you it is super. You can see the color in my finger start to turn red because of how hard I'm trying to bend it. and nothing. It's still perfectly straight. I love it. So, I think I'm probably going to do the name too. Definitely try different, okay. Try different color additives. Let's say pancake batter. You might want to use different colors. Yeah, for sure. I think the only option is going to be opaque instead of opaque translucent mix, because plaster is going to make it solid. So this isn't going to work if you want something transparent or translucent or whatever. You can do gold and silver mica. It just may end up looking like a rustic gold and maybe closer to a silver or pewter. Not silver, a gray or pewter instead of the silver, because when you take the luster out of some of those colors, they just look like not that color anymore. Judy, a vanity tray would be amazing. It's true. Vamp and I threw them earlier and tested their durability, and she used hot coffee cup on them to see if there was any indentation or warping, or if it would stick to the bottom of the cup. And it did really well. Didn't dent at all. Thank you, Carrie. So, I have still many more of those to do. Yes, please, everybody, wish our berry art mother, Judy, a very happy birthday, because it's her very happy birthday. So, happy birthday, Judy. Hey, Melissa.
Judy.
Chris is going nuts with mold ideas. That's awesome. So, we got stuff to do, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I promise this will be the last of this type of coaster video I make you guys sit through. But if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Happy to answer. And so, yeah, that's it today, guys. Class dismissed. Be kind to one another, because you never know what someone's going through.
And always remember, Bowie does the tests.
So you guys don't have to, because he's so cute. And you're so cute. I'm just so cute. Are you going to hold on into my arm? All right. Thank you, Bubba.
All right, you guys have an awesome Wednesday. We shall see you tomorrow. Bye.
I said bye.